my shed, I'm going to make a little bit bigger. I'm going to use my rectangle tool to get the basic shape of it, and then I'm going to type in my size. You notice the single hash mark on the dimensions I'm using. That means the single apostrophe. That means it is in feet, so my shed will be 25 feet by 25 feet. Next, I'm going to, just my personal preference, I'm going to raise the entire shed by 2 inches so I have what resembles a floor. Then I'm going to use the offset tool to put walls in here. Again, I'm just going to make them 2 inches to keep numbers fairly simple. And I'm going to bring my walls up because of what I want to do with the shed. I'm going to make my walls 10 feet high. Next, I'm going to put a door in here. And for my door, I'm just going to put it off the center line. I'm going to make it 8 feet tall. 8 feet tall, not 8 inches tall. Make it 3 feet across, just in case I have anyone who is extremely tall. I'm going to double check. You can see when you, depending on the angle you're looking at it, the lines may not look parallel. You can always use the tape measure tool to check to make sure your lines are parallel. I'm also going to use the offset tool in here. Going to give it a 2-inch door frame, and then use my push-pull tool to push it back to that back face and open up the door. I'm going to go do that again. When you use the push-pull tool, you can only go 2 directions. If you get the notification on face like that, that means it is going to remove the section, and it's going to be an opening in your wall. For the next part, I am going to move to the right wall. This is when it gets a little tricky. Now I want to put a window in, but windows are generally a certain height off the floor. So I can use the tape measure tool to make guides. If I stop and you look at the tape measure tool, you notice that the 2 dashed lines and the plus sign are under the tape measure tool. That means I am adding guides. I am going to make my window 3 feet 2 inches. I made it 2 inches off the 2 inches on top of the 3 feet because that accounts for the 2-inch floor that I put in here. I'm also going to make it 3 feet tall. Then I'm going to come off the right side here and add, we'll do 2 feet 2 inches from the wall, and we'll make it 5 feet wide. That didn't work. I wanted 5 feet wide that way. So with the guides in place, all I have to do is connect the dots, and I have a window framed out. I can erase my guides by just swiping over them with the eraser tool. Now I'm going to make my window a split frame, or split, just a split window. I'm going to use my offset tool in here. I'm going to make it a 2-inch wide frame just to keep the numbers easy. But in order to split the window, I'm going to put a line right down the center here. And then I'm going to use the offset tool again, but this time it's going to be 1 inch offset. So now when I erase these extra lines, and I connect these lines that are left to the frame, I now have a split window on the side of my shed, and I can use the push-pull tool again to push that through. If it turns blue like that, that means you are on the back face of the wall. That didn't work the way I wanted it to. We'll try that again. There we go. And that opened up my window. Now I want to use this for working on cars, since my Ford is always broken. So I'm going to put a garage door on this other side. And I'm going to make it 4 feet 2 inches. Again, accounting for that 2-inch thick wall, it'll still be 4 feet from the interior of that wall. I'll make it 10 feet wide. And the height, I'll do 7 feet. And remember, I have a 2-inch floor, so I'm going to make it 7 feet 2 inches high. And I can also use the rectangle tool if I so choose on this. That gives me that nice perfect rectangle. It's all up to preference which one you use for that. And I'll offset this again. This one, again, 2 inches. And I will push this through, so I have a nice wide opening on the side of my shed. Next, I'm going to put in a ceiling on my shed. So I'm going to come back to the rectangle tool. And for putting in a ceiling, I want the interior corner of that wall and the interior corner of the opposite wall. That puts in a nice flat ceiling in my shed. Next, I can